So I'm standing in the aft hatch of the engine room on Calypso II, and I thought I'd take you on a little walk around the engine bay, and we were going to check a couple of things. So first, a quick walk around. As you can see, the 4 batteries hooked up, 2 each for port and starboard. The engines have double Raycor filters for each side. See, 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2 there. And yesterday, before I started our trip, I replaced all the Raycor filters in here and the Raycor filter back here for the generator. Speaking of the generator, here is a new Kohler generator. It has 200 hours on it. We were fortunate enough with this boat to get a brand new generator, essentially brand new as opposed to original. Now looking around here, here is the heart of Calypso. No, the pair of Caterpiller 3126 6-cylinder turbocharged aftercooled diesel engines. They are 350 horsepower each and approximately 800 pounds of torque. So while they're not enormous horsepower, they have a lot of torque, and they swing fairly large 4-bladed propellers, so it gives you plenty of lift and plenty of maneuverability around the dock. Now yesterday, when we were cruising up from the Chesapeake, we were running at about 2450, 2475 RPMs on each, and that was pushing the boat at about 19.5 knots, so call that 21, 22 miles an hour, something like that. So that was a little bit fast. I think in the future I'm going to run it a little bit slower, closer to 17.5 knots, and the engine's around 23, because I think we are burning over a gallon an hour. And my goal with this boat is to get it down to burning 1 gallon an hour at cruise. So we come back here. Here are the sea strainers. And what I came in here for is, if I can, and I think I can, to check the level of coolant in the expansion tank, along with checking the oil. So we'll do that in one moment. So there's nothing special about changing or checking the oil on these engines. It's very much like you check it on your car. Fortunately, they're both easy to reach. Down here, this one's not painted red. So we can see that. Where's the level? If you can see that, that's the level. I'm not sure if you can get a picture, but that's the level. The oil was changed on these engines last fall when it came out of service. So that one is good. And let's take a look at this one. This dipstick's a little bit longer because I think it goes across to the other side. If you can see that, and you probably can't, but take my word for it, that is where it's supposed to be. So that's good. After our first run yesterday, check everything. Whenever I'm down here, and this is how I was also on the last boat, was you always just take a look. And that's why, you know, this owner and I was on the same one boat, you always keep things very clean. That way you can see if there's a leak, if there's any hose clamp that is loose. You know, you just take a look around, you know, give things a little bit of a tug, see if anything is moving around that shouldn't. And as I am new on this boat, I'll take it a little time to get used to what I should see. But essentially, everything looks pretty good here. As I might have mentioned yesterday, we had a Caterpillar mechanic kind of give it a once over with me to show me where everything is. I mean, that's where, you know, learn where the oil is, where the raw water pump, and I'll show you on the starboard engine if you want to see. Right here is the raw water pump, and that's where the impeller is. And I guess he advised that I can take this off right here when I go to replace that each year. However, unfortunately, and I know, by the way, these doors do open. They open up into the salon. I just have the carpet down, so I didn't open them up. But that's how I would, you know, have better access. But the raw water impeller for the starboard engines there, these are mirror engines, and so the other side is exactly the same. So that one has to be done a little bit more blind, but hopefully we can do that. So let's go ahead and check the coolant. So I'm not sure how well you can see me here. I'm not sure how well I can see me, but I'm going to try to reach the coolant from here. Don't think I can do it in this position. So stand by. So I was able to check the coolant levels. There's no graceful way to do it from this position. It's better to do it from when the main doors are open, but the coolant levels were fine. They were topped off. I do carry, in terms of extra supplies, here I have, right here I have 2 gallons of extended life coolant in case it was ever low. I purchased 2 gallons of engine oil for the cats. The oil that was recommended is SAE 30 weight oil. So we have that, and then we also have a leftover gallon, and this is also SAE 30. So that's, I have extra engine oil on board. Of course, I have rags. I used the ray cores. This is what the ray cores look like, by the way. This is the ray cores for the main engines. This is the ray core for the generator. These are changed once a year with everything else. It's relatively simple to do. Oh, I did it yesterday. A little bit messy, but as long as you have a place to do it. And then, of course, you also, when you change the ray cores, you want to check the bowls to make sure, and I know it's hard to see, there's not a lot of light, maybe on this one you can see that the bowls are relatively clear here. And so when changing the ray cores, if you're not draining the bowls and cleaning them out, then it's a relatively straightforward thing to do. You don't have to reprime the engines. However, these engines are fairly straightforward to prime, and I will show you. Caterpillar is good enough to include a pump. If you can see that handle right there, it's a circle. You unscrew that and you just pump it. There's a valve you turn on, and you pump it until you get resistance, and then that brings the fuel into the engines. Again, the engine's being a mirror. The other one is on the other side, a little bit hard to get to. And then you'll have to crank the engine a little bit more just to get the fuel circulating, but it should start if you do lose the prime. So that pretty much wraps it up from this check of the engine room. I am sure we will be down here. Oh, one more thing. That box right there with the 3 red valves is the reverso oil pump, so I can change the oil in these engines just by operating that pump and directing the valves into a bucket, so I can pump the oil out and then I can pour in new oil. So that's a big help. So we'll do that in the fall. So again, from Calypso's engine room in beautiful Cape May, New Jersey, we will be back.